Well, hello, Pottstown. Welcome to PCTV's Tech Topics for December 19th, 2012. We're taping on Wednesday. Should be airing tonight at 7:30 on Channel 28. And probably that's where you've tuned into this, if you're seeing me on television. PCTV broadcasts from the Pottstown High School. And so that's where we're at, and we have a little technology talk program, or presentation program, really more, where I cover things technology-wise, new and old. For instance, old is our vintage Pong system here that is our entry and exit interest at this point in time. We'll change it over to something else soon, because we've been using it for a long time. And we need something fresh, I think. Let's see. Here's who I am. Let's take a look at my slide here. Tech Equalizer is an organization I have for doing technology problem solving, which can be as simple as PC repairs and the various sundry services that you might need in the computing environment, like setting up networks, and that could be at home or at business, or hardening your computers against virus situations, and various repairs, even difficult repairs like laptop cracked screen repairs and things like that. Have done a number of low-cost website solutions for folks who just want to get a presence of their business on the web. And training and seminars like what we're doing right here, bringing you information and a little bit of training, is something we also do. And let me mention for a second, I think I'm going to offer a very inexpensive $49.99 special for the new year for hardening your computers against virus attacks. I have covered some of these techniques and issues over the last almost a year. And I'm going to offer to do all of the recommended practices that I've recommended on your computers for $49.99. You can get in contact with me through techequalizer.com or the phone number here, 484-558-0357. That's an answering service I have that's high-tech. It's answered by Google Voice, and it will text me when you call, so I will return your call pretty quickly. All right, so welcome to the show. We have been covering topics in using web browsers, a technique called tabbed browsing, which is a neat and very useful technique for keeping track of a lot of web information as you're browsing, maybe researching a topic. Last week's program is already on our YouTube station, which you can get at through PCTV's website, which is thepctvnetwork.com. Look for the tech topics part of the menu selection, and you can watch that program. We covered an interesting topic last week of how to work through answering a question, or like a research topic. And it was an interesting show, I think. And we're going to probably do our last segment now on techniques of web browsing, just to kind of complete the whole picture of what features are available in a modern web browser. So we're going to finish up bookmarks, how bookmarks work, and if we have time, also how browsers will keep track of your logins that you need to create to access almost everything on the web. Every website's got some kind of a login to keep your information separate from other people's information and identify you when you come back, so that you can look at information or products that you have last looked at while you were there. So things like eBay and Amazon and all of your Gmail, Ymail, places, that anywhere that has an account for you, it becomes very difficult to keep track of what passwords you've used on which sites. Sometimes one technique is to use one password across all the sites, but sometimes the sites have unique requirements that your preferred password doesn't meet. So then you end up having to create some variation, and quickly it gets out of hand. You lose track of what you used and where, and you end up having a cheat sheet on a piece of paper next to you or something like that. But anyway, browsers can keep track of many of those logins, and we'll show how that happens. I do recommend using it. I think it's, for most websites, it's the right tool for the job. So let's see. We'll go to a web browser and look this up. By the way, if you want to contact me, if you're watching this on TV, it's not live, so it won't be immediate, but if you want to send a message to techequalizer@gmail.com, comments about the show, about the subject, hopefully complimentary, send them to techequalizer@gmail.com. I am monitoring it, so if anything happens to come in while I am taping this, I'll see it. So, okay, to the browser. Last week, we had a number of tabs open, and tabs are these areas across the top of the browser, which you can open new ones by just pressing the plus sign next to the tab. You can close them by clicking on the X that's in the corner of the tab. And this is typical controls on all the browsers. This happens to be Firefox, which is a browser that I prefer, for reasons I've gone into great lengths in other shows. So what I want to show you is how you can bookmark the information for later. Now, last show I did create a bookmark, and we'll start there. Most browsers have a menu item for bookmarks that's available either at the top of the screen or off of the first menu. Up at the top of the screen, we'll have a bookmark menu item. This is the old style Firefox menu system, which I tend to prefer. For some reason on this machine, when I load the latest Firefox, it keeps using the old style. There is a new style that tries to get rid of this line of the screen. And the reason why they're doing this is that, let's come back to me for a second. Let me explain. This is an old laptop, and it has the square format screen. Modern laptops have gone to Hollywood style of what an LCD should be by using something that's formatted like a widescreen television. So it's got movie proportions. It's very wide and very narrow top to bottom. Well, that makes the screen real estate really precious from top to bottom. So this has driven the software makers to try to avoid using up extra lines, vertical lines of the screen, and give you back that space to work on. So now back to my screen. This is the old style. I have lots of vertical space, so I don't mind having this menu bar here. So on a very modern browser, this goes away, and you either access all of these kinds of selections off of a menu selection up here at the top corner or over here on the left corner. And when you invoke that, then a drop-down has all of this kind of selection. So I think this actually demonstrates better on the old system, so I'm kind of glad we're looking at the old system. So bookmarks are the way to keep track of places you've been. And down here is one of the bookmarks that I made, the bookmark I made from the last show, which was just an example of one website that had some information about fake Ibanez gem guitars, which was the subject of our research. So by clicking on a bookmark, clicking on the bookmark menu, then dragging the mouse or using the arrow keys on the keyboard, you can bring the highlight down to a bookmark. This is the one I made, and then a final left click on that loads that site. Now, I'll demonstrate loading that in a new tab. I'll go over to an unused tab, go into bookmarks, click on that, and it loads. Now I've got 2 copies of the same site loaded in 2 tabs. This is the simplest way to use bookmarks, and the way we created this, let's go to a new site. Let's have a whole new research topic. Let's say we were looking at dog breeds. And so I typed that into the search box of the browser, dog breeds. And for the real new folks who are trying to figure out the whole web browser thing from the start, let me just say that this box on the left with the magnifying glass, that is supposed to give you the idea that this box is for searching. Magnifying meaning you're going to examine something like you would with a magnifying glass. It's for searching, zooming in on the web and zooming in on a subject is the idea. So if that's what this box is, you may be wondering, well, what do I do with this box? So this box is where you actually type a web location into. In this particular browser, it actually says in the box, go to a website. That's the hint there that what you type in there is actually a website name, which could be something like ebay.com, some .com, .org, and that brings up that particular website. So where were we? Dog breeds. So I'm going to do a Google search, and when I search, the search results are going to go into whatever current tab I have open. So if I use this tab, then the search will come up there. If I use this tab, the results will come up there. Let's go to the leftmost one. It's unused. It still has Firefox's splash screen displayed here. So now I'm going to go back into this box and click in it right here, and I'm going to hit the Enter key, which is going to send off this dog breeds text over to a search engine. Well, which search engine? Well, this little colorful square here is a icon, a picture that Google uses to identify itself. So pretty much wherever you see some primary colors arranged in some kind of a pattern, it's probably Google's an icon for Google. Actually, there's a G in the pattern in white that also means Google. So there we go. That means it's Google. If you hit this little down arrow in this box, see the down arrow right next to my pointer? If you click on that, it drops down and gives you selections for other search engines that you can also use. You can go directly to Yahoo and search. Yahoo's got a big index of information. You could search on eBay directly. So that's kind of convenient. But so because this has the Google icon here, it means that my search is going to Google. All right, so that being said, we're going to hit return while we're in that box, and Google is going to present back to us matches on those words. And here comes a bunch of things on dog breed. Here's dog breed selector on animaldiscovery.com. That sounds exciting. AKC is one of the breed management organizations that gives you certificates of authenticity for your dog breed, and all kinds of stuff here on dog breeds. All right, so why do you want to keep track of something you've found? Well, one reason is because the web's information is constantly changing. There is no guarantee that any particular set of search words one day will yield the same results the next day. And that can be very confusing and frustrating. And the reason why the information changes is because new information is released to the web all the time. And part of the mechanism of how you get search results back to you is that they are presented to you based on their own popularity. That's one reason why you see some results versus other results is the web search engines keep track of how popular certain pages are, and they will bubble to the top, and all of a sudden something you may have found a week ago is now way down 3 pages in the searches. So I don't think I pointed this out in the past, but so when you get your search results, you're looking at just the first page. At the bottom of the search results, there's always n number of extra pages that have more matches to what you're looking for. So this goes out to 10 here, but this really goes on kind of infinitely. Their dog breeds is a rather generic couple of words that's likely to be found in millions of documents. So they all match. Any one of those is a potential match for what we're looking for. And so if we go out and look at the 10th page of search results, so these are 100, I don't know how many there are per page here on this particular thing, but it looks like there might be 20 items listed. So 20 times 10, 200 search results later is where we're at down to this point. And then we start seeing numbers for search pages that are out even further and out even further, and it just goes on and on and on. Eventually, some of this stuff might be a really poor quality, but you never know. So the reason why you want to keep bookmarks is because you have happened to found some page. I'm going to open up this one, Adopt a Greyhound, all right? So perhaps you remember, I've got a friend who was looking for a Greyhound, and there's this Petfinder, Adopt a Greyhound. I'm not sure when I'll see them next, but I want to keep track of this page. So as we demonstrated last week, you're going to want to start bookmarking. And so the simplest way is as follows. Here, we'll look at this bookmark, and in this case, the second. There's an item that's called bookmark this page. It also has, if you notice, I'll teach you something here. The Control D is the keystroke that you'd use to invoke this menu item. So as an aside, Windows ever since Windows came out, there's been shortcut keystroke mechanisms that you can use to invoke the same function that's available on a menu. Now, not all menu items have them. Typically, they are the most frequently used menu items. So if you ever get tired of clicking up onto a menu and then scrolling down and clicking on a menu item, you can avoid all of that extra work by just typing the keystroke that is indicated, Control D in this case. But I'm going to click on this. All right, we'll click on it, and up comes a window that says page bookmarked, and this lets you define how the bookmark will be saved. You can change the name of it. In this case, it actually is the name of the web page. Adopt a Greyhound, Dog Breeds Petfinder. It's the same thing that's up here in the blue bar. Adopt a Greyhound, Dog Breeds Petfinder. So by default, your bookmark would be named the same as the name of the website as you see it up here in the title bar when you have browsed to it. Now, you might want to customize these, which we did last week to the Ibanez site, and I might just call this Adopt a Greyhound. Okay. By default, it also goes, the bookmark goes onto the bookmark menu. This here is the bookmark menu, so it means that the bookmark will appear in the menu. We'll ignore the tags, but here you can put some words in that you could later on search on that might help you find the bookmark amongst the bookmarks, which, ooh, that's pretty advanced, and I've never actually had to resort to that. That kind of assumes that you're going to have a incredibly complex set of bookmarks that you actually have trouble navigating through the bookmarks. So I've never gotten to that part. I'm going to imagine you don't either. So we have simply changed the name and defined where this will go. There are some other places that you can put the bookmark, and I will demonstrate those in a little bit too. But for now, this is where most people are going to put their bookmarks to begin with, the bookmarks menu. So watch this. We click done, and now the next time we go into the bookmarks menu, the bookmark shows up right here in the bookmarks menu. So the bookmark is placed right there so you can find it and get back to it very easily. So that's very simple. I hope you agree that it is fairly simple thing to make a bookmark to a place that you would want to get back to. Here's where the problem comes in. Once you get enough of these bookmarks that the menu gets long enough that it goes off the bottom of the screen, it gets to be cumbersome to work with. So they know that, and there's another problem. Once you have a bunch of bookmarks in the bookmark menu that relate to a lot of different topics, it is kind of a jumbled mess of bookmarks. And sorting them out can be really tedious and a pain in the neck. And you might want to take a suggestion from me to get a little organized up front. And what you can do is you can create folders to hold the bookmarks, and then with maybe a small set of folders that are named based on subjects that you are interested in, keeping track of, then these bookmarks will stay really well organized, and you'll have a better time keeping track of what it is you found, getting back to something that you maybe looked at a while back and are having trouble locating in Google again. You've got your bookmark to it. So let's take a look at what it takes to do that. If you'll notice on the bookmarks menu itself, there is already a folder that in this particular browser, Firefox comes with a built-in folder that has bookmarks to some of its own interesting things, help and tutorials for learning how to use Firefox. Probably should have shown you that like 6 months ago. How to customize Firefox, how to get involved with the organization that does Firefox. Believe it or not, they actually look for help. But so we can create a folder much like what Firefox has instituted here. And this is how it is done. It's not quite as straightforward as I kind of would like to see it, because that makes it hard to demonstrate it. But this first menu item, Show All Bookmarks, is the key. It opens up a window, a separate window from the browser. And they call it a library window. So I'm going to close this a second, and I wonder why they didn't call this Bookmarks Library, but they didn't. So Show All Bookmarks gives you a tool for you to create the folders and to put the bookmarks in, as well as to shuffle things around. So if we look down this, here's what's in the whole library. It has a history of where you've searched in the last period of time, today. So this has the things I've already searched on today. Adopt a Greyhound. last 7 days, last month. So that's a way to find something that you have searched on that you maybe forgot or didn't think to bookmark, and you want to try to locate the website that you had found. It also has a listing of things that have been downloaded. We've done a little bit of downloading on this show, back a number of episodes. The bookmarks menu, where we already put the bookmark, is represented here. So this here looks the same as this. If we drop down the bookmarks menu, we see all this bookmarks tool, recently bookmarks. That is the same as the library window pretty much here. I'll see if I can put them both on the screen at the same time. Okay, so if we drop down the bookmarks, you see how we have a similarity here and here. Mozilla Firefox. This is the best Ibanez website fake site. Adapt to Greyhound. Recently bookmarked, recently tagged Mozilla. So this is a representation of the same menu that we have at the top of the actual browser. And notice how we have, here's the two bookmarks that I had created, here and here. So I can make my own folder here by right-clicking here. So if I want to make a new bookmark along with these items, I simply right-click on the menu, bookmarks menu item here, click on New Folder. This will create a new folder in whatever I right-clicked on. And I could call this Breeds. So now I have a folder called Breeds. And I can drag and drop any searches that I've saved and want to put in there. Now I can kind of organize it and drag it and drop it into that directory. So now that Greyhound link is no longer listed directly on the bookmarks menu. It's in the Breeds directory. All right, so we don't have too much time left. We're winding down here. But that's how you create a subdirectory. Let's do a new one, another one, and fake guitars might be another one. I'll click on here, and now I'll put this fake guitar link into there. Drag it and drop it into there. So now I have no more links right here on the menu. They're all inside of the folders. What does that mean? That means that if I go back to the browser and drop down the bookmarks menu, I now have these two folders, and I have one item inside of each of those folders. Well, that I think gives you the flavor of the bookmarks, and from there I'm hoping you can kind of experiment and learn more on your own. It's about time, all we have time for. What are we down to? A couple seconds left? Yeah, so it's been my pleasure to present this to you. Next week, I think we're going to be talking about pad computers. I'm going to bring in an iPad and show you around an iPad if you've been wondering if pad computing might be for you. There is, I think, a large number of people who it's the right thing for. And we'll look forward to showing that to you next week, Wednesday, 7:30. Thank you very much for your attention.